Because this was not intimate love-making sequences we were shooting, these were intimate rape sequences. And both Prasanna and I had never shot intimacy. All of a sudden, after 9 months unemployment, I was like, what is happening? Why am I getting rejected now? Like, I don't understand. And there's this saying in it which says, the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. If I can be a good being and be good at what I do, I think my job here is done, because I know somewhere up there is looking at overall of this. A young 19-year-old boy who wants to work in the movies, is in college second year, and gets a movie like Love Aaj Kal and is straight on Mr. Imtiaz Ali's set. To understand that, you have to keep working on your craft as an actor to understand acting. And you say action and then camera rolling, sound rolling, and acting comes out what you say. So no, it takes a lot. And there is no way that if you are genuinely good at what you do and at the same time you are a good being, I think it's practically impossible for you to reach people and those people to acknowledge who you are. This is the first time that this is happening to me in life, where people are recognizing. So, kahin na, I think the confession here is that
This is what happens when talent meets the right moment. Meet Sidharth Shaw, who began with Love Aaj Kal and is now stepping into his moment with Chiraiya. He doesn't just act, he makes you feel. No shortcuts, no noise, just pure craft built on patience and hunger. In a competitive industry, he stayed grounded and let his work speak. And now, Chiraiya isn't just a film, it's his arrival.
Hello, Sidharth. Welcome to Confessions. It's a pleasure having you here. To start with, what's your story?
hi, thank you so much for having me here at Confessions. And I'd like to start from the starting. So I was born in Lucknow, then I was raised in Delhi initially, then I went to a boarding school in Ajmer called Mayo College Ajmer. I was there for 6 years, and I think majority of the way I am today is because of the kind of upbringing and ethos that were installed in me at school, and those were imbibed to me at school. So I personally feel that 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 fertile age of being a young teenager, a young child, is something where your brain is like a, like you go ahead and absorb things and you deal with people around you. And I always wanted a holistic approach towards, rather my parents wanted a holistic approach for me in life, where I'm not just going ahead and studying primarily and not academically involved, but also co-curricularly involved, also playing sports. So since I was in Delhi and I used to play football in Delhi, play golf in Delhi, and as I was growing older, what was happening was the school hours were not being able to accommodate my co-curricular in sport because of the commutation in Delhi. Because एक घंटा लगता था from my place to the school and back. So my dad went to Mayo and his brother went to Mayo, and I'd always heard of stories of Mayo, and my mother's from La Martiniere, Lucknow. So I had cousins all around who were from boarding schools, and I used to hear their stories. So as a kid growing up, I was like, I also want to go to a boarding, because tomorrow when I will have kids, what stories will I tell them that I went to a day school? So to go ahead and feed that inquisitive curiosity which I had of going to a boarding, I went to a boarding, and oh, thank God, I had the best time of my life in that boarding. And today, my dearest friends are from my boarding. And I came back to Delhi for college. I was in Delhi University. I was doing undergraduation from Shahid Bhagat Singh. And yeah, I was always co-curricularly involved in school. I would do debates, I would do theatre, I would play golf, I'd play football, I'd play hockey, I'd play cricket. So I used to, the jack of all, I used to do all sorts of things. So I used to have fun doing everything. I just didn't want to restrict myself to doing one thing. And boarding, luckily, like my house in the boarding school, right behind that house, there was a golf course. So I didn't have to travel that much. My school was, let's say, 100 meters, 200 meters away from my boarding house. Then if I wanted to debate, the club was right next to it. So there were things within a close vicinity. So I was really lucky that I got to have that as a young boy, because the kind of exposure which I got at that age has helped me tremendously in life today. And we are rough and tough boys. Like, we can, if there's no AC, we wouldn't mind. We can sleep on the roads. Not that we have to, but if push comes to shove, we can withstand whatever comes at us. And that is only thanks to boarding. So I think, yeah, my story actually begins from Lucknow to the boarding to back to Delhi. And then I shifted to Bombay in 2021, right after the pandemic. And right before that, actually, quite interestingly, I was in college, I was doing BCom, and at the same time, I was offered this job in a corporate. So I was working in a corporate which used to do events, like you guys also do events, and we used to do B2B travel and tourism events. So I used to host events, and we would organize events in Delhi primarily. But I also had my college. So I would go to the college in the first half. It was a proper job, not an internship. And from 2 to 7, I used to go to the office every day. So that I did. And then life had become a little hectic because I'd gotten my first film by that time. And I was also in college. I was also doing ads in Bombay. So in Delhi, sorry. So I called quits, and I quit my job in 2020, right before the pandemic hit us. January, I think I quit my job, and I was on my second film by March, and that's when the pandemic hit us. But then, irrespectively, I came to Bombay then in 2021. And then I've been in Bombay since the last, we're in 26 now. And I came in March, so it's just been 5 years since I've come to Bombay. And oh, what a beautiful ride the city is. It is like boarding school all over again. It's like I've entered school all over again, where you have to go through everything all over again. You're a junior again in life, where you have to start from here and then you have to reach your senior grades. So it's like life has come back to where we began. There's this beautiful show called Dark. It's a German show on Netflix. And there's this saying in it which says, the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. So the moment our school got over, I thought that everything's ended. And that's just when right around when I saw Dark. So I was like, the end is the beginning, and that was the beginning for college. Then college got over. Then I started working. Then that got over. My corporate job. Now I'm working here. So this is a beginning which should never end, I think. So yeah.
That was a very beautiful journey, Siddharth.
Yeah.
My next question to you is, what did rejection teach you about yourself?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think, Pankaj, what I feel is that rejection has only made me mature, if I can be honest. It has showed that side of the mirror which I wouldn't want to face. Because what happens is, as a young adult, if you want to work at, like, I can only tell you from my perspective. I don't want to sound philosophical here. I'll just tell you of what I have gone through in life. A young 19-year-old boy who wants to work in the movies, is in college second year, and gets a movie like Love Aaj Kal and is straight on Mr. Imtiaz Ali's set, will but obviously fly high. All of a sudden, your grounding will go away because you've always wanted to work at the movies, and you're at the movies, and that too with whom? Mr. Imtiaz Ali the Great. And with Mr. Kartik Aaryan being the hero of the film and you playing his friend, etc., you'll fly. And I flew. So once that happened, no, and when I reached on set to shoot, and I realized that I don't actually understand what this job is, it was only, I've not ever been to a film school. I've been a theatre baby. I've always done theatre in Delhi at the Mandi House circuit there, and then learned from there. And I've been more of a pragmatic, hands-on sort of a guy who's learned while working on set. So whatever education I have is while working and from work. So whatever I learned being over there is something which has got me grounded today, that no matter what is happening in life today, which is, thank you God, is amazing, but at the same time it grounds me and tells me that there is only more to this, and you to only better the craft. But to come back to your question of rejection, there was this, so I'll tell you, this happened. I always wanted to work at the movies. I straight away I was doing ads in Delhi for 1 year, and 2019 I started doing ads. 2019 only I got Love Aaj Kal. But I had been doing theatre since 2005, since I was a baby. Since I was 5 years old baby. Baby to kya? Almost a young boy. Young boy bhi nahi, a young kid I'd say, kid. So I then got Love Aaj Kal, then pandemic hits. Then what happens is OTT is born, and then all of a sudden we have a lot of work being done in Bombay, and I shift to Bombay that time. And then I was doing a lot of work because OTT was here. I got my first lead on Jio Hotstar, which was Do Gubare. But even after that, I was like, okay, now to my life is set because I've done this. I'm a hero now, so I will get more work. But then I was not employed for the next 9 months of my life. Like, I have never been so unemployed ever. Even when I was working in Delhi, I was always doing one ad or something. Even if I was not doing movies, I was doing something. I was doing some job. All of a sudden, after Do Gubare 9 months unemployment, I was like, what is happening? Why am I getting rejected now? Like, I don't understand. Is the film done wrong? Or all of a sudden, I don't know how to act? Or what is happening in my life? To which, 9 months later, I get a series like Chiraiya. So, that phase of 9 months, no, if I hadn't gone through those 9 months and not worked on myself and questioned why am I not that good enough, probably, if I wouldn't have gone through that journey, I really don't think I would have been able to perform and deliver a performance like I have delivered in Chiraiya, because those 9 months have only taught me. So that rejection phase, my moral of the story here is that the rejection phase which I went through was probably in my best interest, because somewhere deep down there is this one man all above, this one energy all above who's looking after all of this. No matter how hard you wish to go ahead and control something, we don't literally have any control over anything. It is all his beautiful game. All I feel now is this acceptance and surrender that whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and at the right time. And when that happens, we need to be ready for that to happen to us. Therefore, there are these trainings, these rejections, these different phases of life which everybody goes through. And I can only say from my purview that, Pankuri, that I feel that it has been a beautiful journey where I have only learned from these rejected phases. I was almost sacked from Love Aaj Kal, but I was not, thanks to Mr. Imtiaz Ali, the legend, the man that is. Had he moved me from that set, I would have never worked in this field ever again. I would have realized that God probably wants me to do something else, and I would have done something else in life. But he did understand that this was this 19-year-old boy who was flying high. After which, I kept auditioning, didn't really get work. In fact, I'll tell you a fun fact, Shashank sir on Chiraiya, he was making Operation Romeo. That time, Prasanna and I both tested for Operation Romeo. We didn't get selected for Operation Romeo. Now, why didn't we get selected for Operation Romeo? Because probably a Chiraiya was waiting for us somewhere down the line, 2 years, 3 years down the line. And we got to work with Shashank sir. Then now, Shashank sir and I, unhi se baat ho rahi thi just abhi. I'm blessed to have Shashank sir as a mentor today and as a director, where 24 we shot Chiraiya, Chiraiya comes out now. 25 we shoot Amar Vishwas comes out in February. So we've had back-to-back releases this year. For the last 2 years, I've been working with him. So, but at the same time, this is the same director for which I could not work at that point of time, because probably I was not ready at that point of time. So whatever happens is happening because of due time. Now it is your smartness to be able to accept that, to be able to understand that if this is not happening, then boss, you need to work on yourself more. And if you feel that no, that you are good, that is not to say that you become complacent, that oh, I'm good, these guys don't know. So you can't come across from that space as well, right? So you need to then have that acceptance and surrender that yes, something will happen and at the right time, but you keep working on yourself at that time. And when I say working on yourself, I do not mean to say working on yourself in that superficial, real manner in which people, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about get to the work. If you're working in a field like ours, which is acting, understand the craft, work on the craft, which I constantly do. I've also not reached like this epitome level yet, and I'm striving, and my only sole purpose is to reach there. So I keep constantly chasing that improvement in craft. So yeah, I think this is something which rejection has taught me, and I don't think anything else could have taught me. If there are no failures in life, then how else do you learn, right?
I mean, I'm so happy to hear that you have turned this rejection word into an optimistic, word that, okay, if people are facing rejection, it is for their good, it is for
Yeah.
their well-being. A great answer to it. Do actors worry too much about being liked?
No, man. I can't talk about actors in general primarily. I can only talk about myself, as I said before. I tell you from my perspective, I do not worry about. Yes, I do respect the public perception because at the end of the day, this is an audience driven industry. And whatever I am and I will be only because of the love which I get from the audiences. So if you guys don't accept me or you guys accept me, I am only going to be here for either or. So it is all thanks to you guys. But at the same time, I am not coming from a space of thinking about the affability and likability factor here. Because I do understand that I'm a human being and I'm an honest human being. Now, if there is something which I've understood about humanity, is that people appreciate and understand honesty. If you're honest to your work, if you're honest to your craft, if you're honest as a human being, as a normal being in society with people with you, I think that is it. इंसानियत इतनी सी तो चीज़ है. That is what humanity is all about. So if I can be a good being and be good at what I do, I think my job here is done because I know somewhere up there is looking at over all of this, and they will protect you and they will guide you. And there is no way that if you are genuinely good at what you do and at the same time you are a good being, I think it's practically impossible for you to reach people and those people to acknowledge who you are. And that is happening with me because when Chiraiya happened and it became what it became, and all of a sudden there was this talk about people started hating Arun, and that is right. Arun should be hated, a character like Arun should be hated. But to now we've reached a point where we're almost a month from the release and they've realized that this guy is different from Arun. He's an actor who plays Arun. And our audiences are smart enough for that, and I'm getting a lot of love. So that hatred was coming from a space of love only in the first place, as I see it. And I feel that great now. And I don't think I would have been able to approach this character if I would have felt like, oh, will the audiences like this or no? In fact, people like him should be hated. And if you're being able to make them hate you as Arun, that means then my job has been done well. So I feel lucky that I could be in those shoes.
What's the most difficult part about being an actor?
To letting go of myself. Because what happens is I have a moral conscience. I have been brought up with certain values and ethos since we started with that. And when you play a character like Arun, what happens is more often than not, Pankadi, you come in between your character. Because you have been conditioned in a certain way. Now that conditioning, I had to really work hard towards not let that conditioning affect my work. Because it is a tough character to play, all said and done. So my biggest challenge as an actor is to not me, Sidharth Shaw, the actor, come in between this character. Because if that happens, then I can't really truly honestly play that character.
What is your latest show, Chiraiya, all about?
Chiraiya is a show on marital rape which talks about consent, and it simply asks this question where just because you're married, does that give you the license to go ahead and do whatever you wish to with your bride?
How do you see your character in this show?
You know, as an actor, I personally feel that Arun's character has been beautifully written by Divinidhi Sharma sir. There is this whole backstory as to, and we've shown, luckily thanks to Shashank sir, where he has shown that on screen as well. It's written beautifully and it's been depicted also and portrayed beautifully by Shashank sir, where they've shown young Arun as to why has he gotten this entitlement and why does he feel that he can do whatever he wants to. It is not coming from a space of, oh, he's just doing anything because he's like a psychopath, or he wants to be this guy who wants to, tease women and stuff like that. He's not like that. He's a normal person. But his conditioning at large has been such, which has been there in the writing by Devi sir and there in direction by Shashank sir, to show, since those incidences with Kamlesh as she's going out and he's been asked to go and he's a young boy but go with a bhabhi, or when Pinky is born, then Pratham becomes Prathama, so you'll always be my son, I wanted a son. So all of these instances have been put in the show. Then when they are dancing from the bride side at some wedding, These like, no, you can't dance fully because the groom side's ladies can't be overpowered. So there have been certain subplots which have been put in by Devi sir beautifully. So that ways, I feel it is fully meted out. Arun's character. It's a beautiful character. I mean, it's been written beautifully and shown beautifully by Sir. So 80% of my job is already done when I'm on set. I just have to go there and just, by the grace of God, read my lines.
Did you try to justify Arun's character in real life?
Ma'am, as I said, he doesn't know what he's doing is right or wrong. He in his head is in love with puja. He thinks it is a rasam, it is a rewaz, it is a custom. I don't know what you call rasam in English. क्या कहते हैं rasam को English?
Ritual.
Ritual. I think it is a ritual for Arun to go ahead and consummate his marriage on the wedding night. And then keep consummating his marriage because that is what is the concept and notion of marriage for him, because he doesn't understand. And why does he understand is where the main crux lies. It's because of his upbringing. It's because of this patriarchal society in which we've been brought up. It is not just him. So when I approached Arun, it was never from the space, and since the writing was such, and Shashank sir had given me a brief of such, where it was never that this guy is going ahead and doing something wrong in his head. He is in love with his wife, and he is just being with his wife. He doesn't know what the main question of this being right or wrong doesn't arise in his head only. He's that oblivious. He's just in love. And I approached him from him. So when it comes to love, ma'am, is love justified or not justified is a question which I have to ask. So there is no justification when it comes to that.
What was the hardest scene to perform in the show?
But obviously the intimate sequences. Because this was not intimate love-making sequences we were shooting, these were intimate rape sequences. And both Prasanna and I had never shot intimacy. Luckily, we both know each other from before. We had done a film called Booksy 5 years ago. So we were a little comfortable with each other, but still to be able to do this is something which is very daunting. Luckily, Shashank sir put his foot down and got us an intimacy director, Kanak Garg, who came and did workshops with us, who made us feel comfortable. And we were pretty easy on set, but it was tough. It was very tough. I'm sure you would have seen interviews by now. I had read articles where I was quoted, Prasanna has quoted, where it's been tough on me. I used to limp. The day we were shooting, I started crying. Then even after, it was like, now that I watch it, it's been tough for my family also, because see, while they were watching the series, see, for any parent to see something like this is gruesome. So they fast forwarded that bit. But on social media now, it went viral, so everybody was watching it. In that space, even if they wanted to avoid it, they couldn't. They saw it. So it has been tough on them as well. It has been tough on me as well. Like when I saw it for the first time, after watching the honeymoon sequences, I cried again. So it happens. It's only natural. I couldn't really believe me doing something like this. I was like, what is happening? So that way is, it was tough. Yeah, it's not easy. People think that it is an easy job where you just come and stand and sit in front of the camera and you say action and then camera rolling, sound rolling, and acting comes out 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it takes a lot, which people don't really see the work which goes behind it. So it takes a lot to go ahead and be in those shoes and be able to live into those shoes. Because see, it starts as this fascination, as this passion, as this obsession that I want this. You want this stardom, you want this frenzy of people loving you. But I also didn't really understand as a young naive boy who shifted to Bombay that you have to put in so much work. My understanding was that you are good looking and you have this hero complex, you just come here, stand in front of the camera, and acting will happen. But if you put logic to it, can a doctor really be a doctor without studying? Can a lawyer really be a lawyer without going through that degree of law? Can an engineer really become an engineer without those 5 years of IIT? No, na. Engineering degree? No, na. Can an accountant become, any professional can become a professional without knowing what his job is? Just by thinking that he'll put a white lab coat on and go to the hospital and become a doctor, nahi hota na aisa. So similarly, I had to understand after, see, I had been doing theatre, but I had to understand that you have to keep working on your craft as an actor to understand acting. Because that is something which I never looked at only. I thought I've been doing theatre, so I to know acting. Because usually people have this, let's say, misconception. But it's not like that. This is a different world in itself. And it is a technical world. There's a camera set up here, there's a camera set up here, you guys will intercut it. There's sound being recorded. There's been lighting which has been put up to make me look like this here. See, all of this is magic for us when we see from that end. But what happens to really achieve that magic is something which we need to aspire to work on. And that is something which has been my constant dwell to be able to create this. So I am in this learning phase, ma'am. And after talking, I've forgotten only what is happening and what were we talking about. That is the flow state. As actors, we always aspire to reach this state where we don't know what is happening. We know that all of this is happening. Yes, you have a mic, you have questions. But I don't really know what is happening. So to be or not to be at the same time.
This was very insightful. Now, Sidharth, according to you, do you think most men actually don't understand consent?
Ma'am, it is a very grey area. Especially after marriage is what our series is talking about. See, firstly, understanding consent has only become a new concept right now. People don't really understand what consent is. And I'm talking about consent in the very basic terms. No, I'm not even talking about physical intimacy when it comes to consent. Yeah, I'm talking about consent of, let's say, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 of us in the room. There's a party, and some people drink, some people don't prefer to drink. Now, there is a consent which is viable there also. Now, what we tend to do is, Arey yaar, it's a party, why you not drink? Achha, I have one drink. Just be a part of this. So that peer pressure which people want to put themselves into, that they don't respect somebody's boundaries. There is this bubble theory which I've mentioned before, where there are two bubbles, two separate human beings in two different bubbles. You do whatever into you in your bubble, he does whatever he wants to in his bubble, her bubble. Problem is when these bubbles collide and there is friction, they intersect each other's. Now, once these bubbles are colliding, is it because they both are okay with them being collided? Is it she is or he is being okay with it collide, or he is she is? So you need to understand that space where the both of the parties need to be completely fine with that intersection. Then only this intersection can happen, and that exists irrespective of what you're doing. It can be as simple as, like, I would give a very stupid analogy. Like in school, there used to be these consent slips you used to get signed from your parents, that you have to take, as since you're a minor, you have to take your parents' consent to go on an excursion. So you would get that consent slip signed, and your parents would be okay with it. So the same bubble theory applied there. Similarly, as you keep growing older, dynamics keep changing, and there's consent which is viable in every small little thing. In fact, since we are actors and we are working professionals on set, there is this, I was doing this one interview and we were talking about consent, and we were talking about how we've been talking about Chiraiya, and there was this makeup artist, and he comes and then he literally just dabbed. So I was like, brother, we're talking about consent here. If you feel like touching me, I understand it's your job, but it is also your understanding to ask. We have made a whole series about this for you to understand these spaces. So if you feel like touching me, I understand it's your job, but you need to also ask me before that, hey, can I might be in some other head frame. Or if I want to go ahead and approach the camera, or I want to touch somebody's camera and check the frame, I will ask them. So the whole concept of asking and being allowed to do something, because that is their bubble, is what consent is about. And is something which is getting clear with more cinema being made on these lines, where people are talking, more importantly, talking about things like this.
This was very beautifully explained. Why do people defend what they know is wrong?
Actually, Pankudi, I feel it's really nice they try to defend that. Because then your true thinking and ideology comes out. Because you can't just have one side, then it's not a discourse. You need both sides, both parties, to understand what is happening is right or what is happening is wrong. Get it? If there is only one segment which is talking about, let's say, good only, how would you understand all those people who also have this bad connotation? So it's very important for those bad connotation or that negative connotation to be also voiced. Because if right is there, then only wrong is there, and if wrong is there, then only right is there. Without each, either can't exist. So it is very important to be able to have both these sides and wings. And us as a democracy, which India is, the beauty of our country is that we have a right to speech. So if somebody is coming out with, as you said, a wrong thinking, a wrong approach, we as a society need to understand why is that approach like that first. And then there is a counter to that, which people are giving in itself. So that is the beauty, where you can have this discourse. Otherwise, if there is just wrong, 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 or right, 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 we will never really evolve. We will only head in one direction. We'll become unidirectional. So I think it's very important that people come up with these wrong sides and they rather defend their thinking that yes, I think this is wrong because this is the king. And then somebody who's from the right side then goes ahead and explains that no, boss, this is where you're going wrong. So I think that is a holistic society. That is a developed society where you can be able to be mature enough to have this discussion.
Did this role change how you think?
Of course it did. Because us as humans, we keep evolving. And I think I've really evolved in my craft, primarily being on a set like Chiraiya. Because, see, there are veterans like Shashank sir and Divi sir who are making this. A veteran production house like SVF, which is in this building only, has produced this. There are veteran actors like Sanjay sir, Divya ma'am, Sarita Joshi ma'am, Faisal bhai on set. So when you're around in a vicinity like that, where there's such stalwarts, you but obviously come from a space to learn so much here. So when that happened now, there's so much for you to realize that, oh boss, this is only the beginning. There is so much you have to do here. So I had a great learning. It was a great exposure for me, personally speaking, and a great learning experience. I've learned a lot being on a set like Chiraiya, how to go ahead and be able to sustain in a place like Bombay, and especially when works like work here. So it's been a great, enriching experience, if I can say so. And yes, my thinking has changed. I have become. There is this one thing I'll tell you. This one instance. So Faisal sir, who plays Vinay Bhaiya in the series, is like an elder brother to me only, and like he is in the series. It's actually happened from real to real, and us as young folk on set, we are always really inquisitive, or we want to kill it and go and give that shot. Something happens all of a sudden and our energy will be dissipated. We'll be like, oops, we'll be deviated. So Faisal bhai used to constantly tell me on set, because this is happening. Sets are like chaos, man. Like there's so much happening on set, right? It's not just okay, one director, one actor, and then you're straight ahead in front of the camera and shooting. There's a light setup, there are production boys, there are spot boys, there are 200, 300 people brigade which are making the film. And when 200, 300 people are working together, so but obviously there's going to be things which are going to be around, no? It is a chaotic environment. It's not in silence that you're there. Right before take, everybody is silent. So in that space, when all of this hodgepodge was going on, no, I used to sometimes get really fidgety and really taken aback by it. So Faisal bhai used to tell me, relax, sit down, sip your tea. You go and give your shot now. Whatever you're feeling right now, you use it in that and then use it in your shot. Don't think about all of this. Come, sit with me, have chai. And we used to have chai. And we used to sit and we used to talk. He's this calming, relaxed, like an elder brother usually is pacifying. He's this pacifying young man who would put you down, calm you down. And I'd be like, oh no, this is that. So I think that has been a great learning experience for me, being on set. Now from any set which I go to, I know that this is going to happen. I know things are going to go haywire. But I have to maintain my calm and cool also, and I will go and do whatever I want to in front of the camera. So I have learned this. This has been one key learning from being on Chiraiya.
What's your take on Divya Datta's character in the show?
Oh, ma'am's character is a beautifully flawed character. It's a human character, which says that she will not go against her own brother-in-law and he can never do wrong, to which she fights against her brother-in-law. So there is this whole arc which has been beautifully penned by Devinidhi Sharma sir again and shown by Shashank sir, where there is ample amount of time put in. It shows that there has been time put in this character, because it starts off somewhere and it ends somewhere, and there's this whole journey which everybody goes through. It's a beautiful character and it's been beautifully portrayed by Divya ma'am.
What did you learn from Sanjay Mishra as an actor?
I think from Sanjay sir, the best part about him is that, see, since he's done a lot of comedy and he's really good at comedy, And we used to have these conversations about how it really works and what is comic timing, etc. There's one thing which I've learned from Sir is that he's really present in every take. And when I say present, he's not just present to the camera, he's also present to the available stimuluses. For instance, this Bhai Sahib is moving in his shirt, and I can literally see him moving, and I can catch this and I can use this in this while talking. And then he'll give you a dirt. Now see, all of a sudden you're smiling. So I used it. So there are things which are there around you which you can sometimes put to your benefit. And that is something which is a beauty which I've learned from Sir. That take in, and he's literally present in every take. So he takes in whatever people are giving him and then he uses it against. And that is something which I'm trying to now inculcate in my craft, where be really present in take.
Is this industry still patriarchal?
Ma'am, our country is a patriarchal country. It is not just about being a line of work or an industry working in like that. A country, let's face it, let's be honest with ourselves, because if we're not honest with ourselves, who are we really honest with? We are a patriarchal society. We have been brought up in patriarchal households. It is not that we are a, and I feel personally an ideal world would be neither patriarchy nor matriarchy, an equilibrium. But it will take years to reach that, because this has been conditioned since eternity, I'd say, for India at least. So in that space, ma'am, I would only say that yes, we are a patriarchal society, not just an industry, a patriarchal society which is evolving is the crux here, which is moving towards an equilibrium.
Have you ever seen consent being overlooked on a film set?
No, ma'am. Actually, I luckily came in a time, and I've always been really lucky to be on sets and safe environments where I've never felt this kind of energy on set, actually. If I can be honest, I Me Too had just, I came in 2020, 2019, we were shooting Love Aaj Kal. I think 2018, 2016, 17, 18 is when Me Too became really big in India as well. 16 it became big in the West. Then I think 17, 18 or 19 became big on around India, because I remember my first film said Love Aaj Kal only. There was this whole SOP which had come out where there was a strict standard of procedure stating acts for if there is any act of sexual harassment on set, these are the pointers you have to do. There were producers' numbers mentioned, there were safety helpline number mentioned. As in when you feel that you're being harassed, you instantly go to the EP, executive producer, and you report it there and then. And touch wood, I've been lucky where I've been on sets where nothing like this I've really witnessed. So I've been on safe environments, and I entered the film fraternity at a certain time, ma'am, where I felt that we were talking about things like Me Too and practices like this. So I really never really had to face a set like that. I consider myself very lucky, like God has been like that. But I haven't, no.
Why do you think women are against women?
I don't know, ma'am. I think that is a question for a woman to answer. I really don't know why do women think that they're against each other.
This was portrayed in your show as well, where Kamlesh is supporting Arun for what he's doing,
Ji.
even after knowing what wrong he has done with his wife.
Ji.
Then don't you think that she was against a woman at that point of time?
But the beauty is that only, no, ma'am. You have a certain thinking. As we were talking about in this example which I was giving you of my best friend, where more often than not, his side usually changes or my side changes after listening to the perspective and understanding where they are coming from. So listen and understand is something which I think also holds true in every scenario, like this scenario, where Kamlesh Bhabhi didn't really understand that what was happening, because she was also a part of patriarchy also. Na? She is not coming from some other lala land here. She's also been brought up in India, which is a patriarchy. And she raises Arun. So she thinks he can't go wrong. But she is shown that he is doing wrong by Pooja, to which he only flips. So that is the result, where actually a woman is a woman's best friend also, a comrade also then. So it starts there, but it ends somewhere else. So that ways, I think it's a win-win.
Fair enough. What's one thing you would like to confess today?
Okay, I'll be really honest. So all of us, this is the first time that this is happening to me in life, where people are recognizing me, people are clicking pictures, they want to, you go somewhere, they're like, oh, ye to wo hai. So this is the first time this has ever happened. And I was never really, letting me be affected by it, because I didn't want to fly high again. Because I have flown once and that was really miserable for me. So I was like, no, I have to be really grounded this time. So, kahin na, I think the confession here is that only very recently, the last 2-3 days, I'd say, I've actually started enjoying this, because throughout I was in this constant fear that no, 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 I don't want this for me to fly and all. Of course, I want this to happen, that people recognize it, because this is what we strive for. And this has luckily happened thanks to Chiraiya. But I think the confession here is that I'm actually enjoying this now, and I'm really, really grateful to God that this has happened to me. So yeah, I think that is my confession.
This was really sweet. What's next for you?
So there is this film which you would see Prasanna Pooja from Chiraiya and Arun Siddharth from Chiraiya in a new avatar in a film called Boxy, which is hopefully coming out end of this year. It is doing festival runs right now, and it is a indie horror film, Supernatural Zone. So that will come end of this year. Apart from that, I'm currently working on a web series which is a family drama sitcom of sorts. So it's completely different. And I'm also working on another series which we start a little later, I think around August. And that is something interesting. I'm not in a space to talk much about it. But I'll give you a hint. It is an existing show because there's a season 4 of it. And no, बस इतना ही, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं.
Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining us today.
Thank you
It was
so
truly a
much.
pleasure having you on our show and hearing some great insights from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.